And you realize through hard work, you can outwork anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk so soft to ourselves. We're looking for that recovery day. And that recovery day is everything in your life. Everything in your life is a recovery day. We're looking for it. It's not coming. It's not coming. Get over that recovery day. And that's the mentality I took with me. And what happened through that process was all the frivolous things of life started to float away. I used to tell people lies so they would like me. Because I was so insecure. When you start to build yourself up, and start to have the one thing that we don't have is confidence.
Yep.
Real, authentic confidence from hard work. Everything else goes away. You no longer look to other people for your self-esteem.
For validation.
That's right.
Yeah.
You now know. I walk in a room now and I know the hours and years and decades I put into David Goggins. That's something, it's not on the wall. It's not a trophy on the wall. It's not a medal around your neck. It is actually a feeling in your heart. And people go, why don't you ever smile? I don't have to.
You don't show up when nobody's watching. You quit when nobody's encouraging you, and you don't stay faithful when things get tough. That's why you're not moving forward, man.
Perspective, I think, is something we lack in our modern day society. We are, I think too many people are willing to jump to this false conclusion that you've had it the worst, that your life is worse than your ancestors or than your peers or than anybody else walking around America right now. And there's just so happens there's a really good chance that's not true. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying there's a pretty good chance it's probably not true.
Do not let any sort of victory make you complacent, because there's actually a difference between wishing for something and being ready to receive it, man. Be real and heal.
It's about whatever you think you are, you have to make that dream a reality. But that's where the hard part is making that dream reality. That's where the hard work comes. That's where people know, how do you keep grinding every day? I was an insecure, lying kid, afraid. I had to look at my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. And the machine is this. You gotta keep challenging it every day. That right there is my fuel, is I know that there's really no one out there grinding like me. And if they are, so be it. If I know about you, I'll make sure that I up my game.
Let's be real. You either keep feeding your excuses or you make the decision to build that discipline and keep moving forward. You gotta choose one, because you can't do both, man. Just gotta be real and heal.
It showed me even more of what we have as humans, if we're willing to go there and we're willing to push that extra step. And like I say, I always tell people, a lot of people, man, how do you do what you do?
Gather from within the boldness that it takes to keep going even when things get tough, man. It demands boldness to face your struggles and to be more than a conqueror. Humility and boldness are non-negotiable if you want to walk by faith and not by sight.
At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting.
You gotta learn to look back up again, because you've been stuck in that vicious cycle for way too long. Do not forget that the righteous falls 7 times and still gets back up again. And it's never in your best interest to accept defeat, because have you not read that no weapon formed against you shall prosper? Come on, you gotta find courage and faith. Get up, be real, and heal.
So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. But I got to live with that.
That fire is so important, and it's not being harnessed right now because it's absent from this generation.
Yeah.
And we have to let people fail again.
When you truly think about it, there's no such thing as being lucky. Because at many occasions you thought, I'll never be able to get back up again. But guess what? You're still standing, and that's because what was meant to destroy you, man, God turned it around for your good. And whatever situation you're going through right now is no different. Whether it's health, whether it's financial or whether it's even emotional difficulties, you're still not alone, man. So you better not let any situation kill the fire that you got. You gotta take a stand, man. Some of you are going even through some bigger issues, man. But I gotta remind you that only God heals. Only God heals. From dry bones you can get an even more beautiful life than before.
How you feel? How you feel? Good. How you feel? How you feel? Good. Let's take this good in everything. We ain't out here but an hour, fellas. I'm taking care of you. So I need you to take care of me. All right? Yes. Everything full speed. Hold each other accountable. Everything full speed.
See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. Repeat after me, there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Don't make other people's opinion of you your business. You just focus on being a little better than you were yesterday, pushing more boundaries, more limits, challenging yourself a little more than you did yesterday, man. As long as your values align with the fear of God, you just stay true to yourself.
Change is impossible until you properly value conflict. So I just want you to understand something. In the spirit of God, we don't talk about change no more if you're not willing to deal with conflict in the way that God will have us to deal with conflict. I'm not telling you don't dream no more, don't have these dreams, hopes and goals. I'm not telling you that. But I'm telling you, if you're not gonna deal with conflict, then you just need to go ahead and just have a low self-esteem.
Come on, man, let's be real. You can have goals and ambitions and all that's good, it's not bad. But if you do not seek the kingdom of God first, if you do not make God your number one priority, man, we know how at the end of the day, how lonely that is, man. We know how stressful that is, how depressing our society has become without God. Only Jesus is the Prince of Peace, man. All the faith that you got in the struggles, in the pain, and the heartbreak you got, you can turn it into the faith that you got into your God, man. Be real and heal.
Whatever you're stressed about, whatever you're worried about, whatever the enemy's threatening you with, whatever he's trying to do with you, chillax. God has already built to accommodate.
I'm going to keep reminding you that the only way is to go through, man. There's no more going back. There's no more quitting. Even though each one of us are going through our own valleys of shadow of death, we're not going to fear no evil, man, because the Lord Christ is our shepherd. When you're hurt so bad that you can't even find a place to run to, I hope you remember that Jesus Christ is the only secure refuge, man. And you cannot lean on to your own understanding, you just can't. But in all your ways, commit yourself to God and He will straighten your path. Even when you go through the darkest moments of your life, you still have peace because you know who goes before you.
I know where you are. I know where, because I've been there. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So I know how to reach those people who are in the dungeon, because I've been there so many times.
You gotta realize that it's a privilege to have dreams and goals, but it's even more of a blessing to be able to translate those aspirations into organized thoughts and actions. Because only action and achievements will ever be able to speak better on your goals than your words can ever do, man.
Don't follow what most people do because you don't want the results that most people get. The average person is obese, likely to be divorced, and has less than 1K in the bank. It feels safe to do what everyone else is doing, but it's actually a terrible decision.
Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mindset, and only then you'll be able to test and prove that God's will is perfect, good, and pleasant for you, man.
See, a lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again.
Keep an open mind while you're working towards your goals, because a closed mindset can actually kill your faith, belief, and even your courage, man. It's easy to forget that you're capable of achieving even more than what your mind can imagine. Let me remind you that no eye has seen and no ear has heard what the Lord can do with you. Just be focused and stay inspired, man. Be real and heal.
Until we understand how critical conflict is, we will never grow. You missed it. Some of you felt uncomfortable with the truth because you ain't used to walking in it. Forget what I said before, forget what I said afterwards. This is the one I want you to hear. So although we're uncomfortable with transparency, why do we feel annoyed, overwhelmed, or anxious by agitation, yet we feel comfortable with no growth.
There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life.
You gotta learn to boldly declare your testimonies and the victories you've had by the grace of God, because after all, you'll overcome by the blood of Christ and by the power of your testimonies, man. Don't be ashamed of what God has done for you. Those are your victories. As for me, I know I serve a God who can bring back life into an army of lifeless bones, man, in a valley. I know that I serve a God who will never forsake me nor leave me, man. That's where my confidence comes from. That's gotta pump you up a little bit, knowing that if God is for you, who can be against you, man?
The life you want is on the other side of a few hard conversations, and you're living a life you hate because you're too afraid to have them.
For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and sound mind. Power, love, and sound mind. Power, love, and sound mind, man. You gotta know that, and you gotta walk with that every single day, man.
The heaviest things in life aren't iron and gold, but unmade decisions. The reason you are stressed is that you have decisions to make, and you're not making them.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways, submit to Him, and He will straighten your paths.
But I think it's more important is to realize that self-esteem is earned. It's only earned by you with yourself. So it's really, self-esteem comes from doing incredibly difficult things where you know you pushed yourself. It's not virtue signaling, it's not telling people about it. It's what you know inside your soul is true.
Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So man, this is not the time to be anxious or worried. Cast all your anxieties on God because He cares for you. You better trust and believe that His angels will minister to you. His angels will protect you. And the crown of favor is upon your head. So take courage, have faith, and keep moving, man. Keep moving forward.
And the more you do things that are incredibly difficult, and especially things that are meaningful, meaning they're not just about yourself, the higher that esteem would be. I think the most important thing for self-esteem is to find something you care about more than yourself.
The combination of hunger and determination is what you need to change your current situation, man. You gotta be locked in on your purpose. Search for wisdom and understanding to the best of your abilities, man, before it's too late.
Small minds discuss other people. Gossip. Good minds discuss events. Great minds discuss ideas.
The righteous falls 7 times and still gets back up again. But the wicked stumbles when calamity strikes. Come on, man, consistency is always the key. It's not about what you do every once in a while, but it's what you do every single day that really matters. You gotta put in the work. Show up every day with faith and courage, knowing that your efforts will count. Every single one of your actions counts, so you might as well be true to yourself.
Let's set aside doubts and fears for a moment. You know you got within you all it takes to be consistent, reliable, and steadfast, because you've been created in the image of God, who's the same yesterday, today, and forever, man. There will come a time when both the believer and unbeliever will see Jesus return in full glory, and yet both will ask for mercy. You see, everything that you do, it's worth nothing if you don't do it based on the perfect will of God. And Jesus Christ is the perfect manifestation of the will of God. He is the Word of God. Be real and heal.